Hey everybody, this is Dave from Growing the Home Garden. Today I'm inside the house and I'm taking a look at the different seeds that I like to plant each year. In particular, we're going to talk about peppers and tomatoes. So here I've got the black krim. This is one I grow every year. It's got a great flavor. The flesh is dark and it's really good on a sandwich. I love sandwiches, by the way. Anyway, but the black krim is one that we do every year. Last year, I tried this one for the first time. This is from Renee's garden. It's the Tasmanian chocolate. It's a determinate variety, and that basically means all the fruit is going to happen at the same time, and then you can remove the plant and move it on, repot something else in its place. But they were really good tomatoes. They did well in pots on my back porch, and I'll link to the videos that I did on them, and you can kind of see a little bit more on what the Tasmanian chocolate tomato looked like. Now, a tomato I've grown in the past, I don't do it every year, is the yellow pear. And the yellow pear is a small cherry size one that they're all shaped in a pear shape. And, real original name there, it's a yellow pear. But the yellow pear, they're good, they're kind of unique, they're proliferous, so you're going to get a lot of them. And what I've noticed is that if I grow them one year, I almost always get volunteers the next year. So, and that can be said with a lot of cherry tomatoes, but nothing wrong with those. My favorite cherry tomato is actually the Sun Golds. And they're delicious orange cherry tomatoes that you can't go wrong with planting these. This one's a little bit more unique. It's a darker tomato, really good size, beefsteak type. It's a Paul Robeson, and it's got a really great flavor to it. Definitely recommend that one. For traditionalists, you can't go wrong with the Cherokee Purple. We do that one every year. Good taste. And I've done Brandywines in the past. I didn't do them last year, but the Brandywine, they tend to be a little bit more problematic. A little bit more sun scorch and stuff like that, so they need a little bit of leaf protection over top of them. The Homestead is not a bad one either. Homestead is a semi-determinate tomato that probably goes about 4 to 6 ounces, and it's got a good flavor to it. They perform pretty well in the garden. If you like more of a Amish paste type thing, the San Marzano is the one that I tend to grow. They do pretty well. They're pretty resistant to different issues in the garden. One of my other favorite cherry tomatoes is the chocolate cherry. Chocolate cherries are fairly proliferous. They put out a lot of tomatoes, good flavor, definitely better than anything you'll ever buy in a grocery store. 75 days, they're an indeterminate type, of course, like a lot of cherry tomatoes are, and they will just put out constant tomatoes all season. So we talked about the Sun Gold already. What do we got here? No, I don't usually do that one all the time. The mortgage lifter has an interesting story. It was said that the guy who originally was growing these sold enough of them to pay off his mortgage. Wouldn't we all love to be able to do that? But these days you can't do that to a mortgage. You can't pay off a mortgage with tomatoes unless you've got a whole lot of tomatoes. But anyway, it's supposed to be about a 1 pound pink fruit. It's really good. I don't grow it every year. I've grown it a couple years here and there. That's the black krim. Again, we've already done that. So let me skip over now, and I'm going to take a look at some of the peppers that I like to do. For a bell style pepper, the Quadrado d'Asti Rosso is really good. It's a red bell pepper. I don't like green peppers. I like colored peppers, whether they be red or yellow or orange. And this is a good one. It's a pretty good block size one. It's got 80 days to maturity. Now, if you're going with another type of bell pepper, and this is kind of the standard one I grow, it is the orange bell. Crazy name. It's an orange bell pepper. It's good. Now, among some of the other peppers, I do grow some hot ones, and mostly the hot peppers that I grow, I'll eat jalapenos just fine on a sandwich or something like that, but most of the time we put them into like a chili pepper blend. We dehydrate them at the end of the season and then just kind of mix up whatever we have at the end of the season. So, some of the ones, the peach habanero, that's pretty good. There's or a jalapeno Craig's Grand. This is a cool pepper. It's got a little bit of a lemony taste to it. It is called Lemon Drop. If nothing else, it looks really cool. So plant it. Use it as ornamentals in some other garden beds other than, say, your vegetable garden. It could be flower gardens, anything there. This is kind of neat. This is a paprika style pepper, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. It's German. I took German in high school, but that's about it. So it's a paprika style pepper. It does have some heat to it, but it's more of a mild heat. And another one good for flavor. I bet these would be good really smoked and then dehydrated and then ground up into a kind of a chili powder sauce, or chili powder itself. Now the shishito pepper is pretty good. I'd never heard of that one before until I started working for a client who loved these type of peppers. They are tasty right out of the garden. They just have a unique flavor to them. So I definitely recommend trying the shishito. If you've never done it before, they're pretty good. They'd be good in your cooking, whatever you want to do with them. They're not really that hot, not at all. So I did the Cuadrado de Este Rosso, and of course, you know, there is the Tabasco peppers. Got to grow some Tabasco peppers if you're doing any kind of hot peppers, right? It's kind of a tradition. The Pasilla Bayo, and I have no clue if I pronounced that correct or not. That was my best stab. Is typically used in like a mole sauce, and we've grown it a few years. It's really kind of neat, 8 to 10 inches long. It gets this curved shape to it, so it's really kind of a neat, unusual style pepper. I like growing that. Got to grow the cayenne hot peppers. Anaheim peppers are tasty to grow. A lot of people love those. Got some serrano peppers. And a couple more for the hot pepper mix here. We've got the chocolate habanero, and we've got the Caribbean red habanero. Now I'm going to talk about a couple here that I will not grow for myself. No way. I just won't even go there. And what that is the boot jaloka. You also know it as the ghost pepper. Now the ghost pepper is extremely hot, so I don't really recommend eating it. Years ago, I used to sell plants at the farmer's market, and I had a couple requests for those type of plants. For this one and the Carolina, oh wait, I don't have the Carolina Reaper. I have the Trinidad Scorpion. So I had some requests for some people who were just wanting some crazy hot peppers, and I grew those. And funny story is, we took one year when I did grow it in the garden, and we mixed it up, we dehydrated them, and we ground it all up, and we made some of the hottest spice blend we've ever had here in the house because of the boot jaloka. And with that pepper, there's one day when my wife went and she was going to make some chicken fiesta soup, chicken tortilla soup. So she called me up and said, well, how much of this do you think I should use? And I said, just a very little. And she just put like a pinch of it in there, and it was turning our faces red. It probably looked like cartoons with steam coming out of our ears when we ate it that night. And it was just a tiny bit. So a little goes a long way with these things. I don't think you'll have any danger of deer wandering off or other pest issues with that one. So, but I'm not going to grow that one because, well, what's the point? So one I'm excited to grow this year, and I already ordered it. This is fresh new, and they're tiny. They're tiny tomatoes that only get about 12 inches tall, and it is orange hat. It looks like a really cool one that you could grow on a shelf on a window inside the house. So I'm hoping to get some of those going. Of course, they're also a determinant. They're a dwarf, so they're going to be really small, cherry-sized tomatoes. It just looks really cool. So I thought that would be really neat to try. But let me tell you about my most favorite tomato ever. Okay, we'll skip back to the tomatoes. I know we've been talking peppers for a little bit, but my most favorite tomato ever is the Little Orange. And there was one year, there was a time when I used to think tomatoes had to be red. And I'll have to pass this one on to my wife because she suggested, well, let's try this one. And it was one of the best tomatoes I've ever had. Good flavor, not real strong as acid, just a really good taste overall, and they are consistent. There's like virtually no cracking in the skins, and they perform really well. I always get some delicious tomatoes out of them. So I highly recommend the Woodle Orange for your garden. So what I'm curious about though from you guys is, what are your favorite varieties of peppers and tomatoes? Is there something here that I've shown you that you do that you really like? Or have you had bad performance from some of these varieties? The funny thing about growing gardens is it can be highly variable depending upon where you live, what kind of soils you grow in, what the growing conditions are in that particular season. If you have a wet year, things are going to perform different. So, you know, if something doesn't work for you one year, try it again. You know, just give it a shot. So what's your favorite stuff? What do you like to grow? Tell me about it in the comments. Give me some ideas as to what you like to do. Tell me some things about the ones that I'm suggesting here. Do you grow the hot peppers? Do you grow the boot jaloka? What do you do with it if you do grow it? So give me some thoughts. Anyway, I really appreciate you watching and joining me today while I'm looking at these tomato plants, or tomato seeds. They're not plants yet. They'll be plants eventually. And soon I'll be potting those up and I'll show you how I do that. So thanks for watching. I'm Dave from Growing the Home Garden. Please like and subscribe this, and look forward to seeing you around. Thanks for watching.